Hello, everybody, and welcome. I'm Justin from Playing Board Games, and today I'm joined by Billy, one of the minds behind Arkham Con 25, the con in yellow. If you don't know what this is, that's what this video is for. We're here to shed some light and give some information about this convention happening later this year. You might be aware of something called BusterCon, a Mythos Busters run convention that is not happening this year. However, some awesome members of the community decided, hey, we want to still have a convention here, and it's happening. And there's dates, there's tickets for sale. There's currently early bird tickets for sale that you can jump on right now until the 31st of March. And yeah, this video is going to be covering all this. We're going to have the website here, but Billy, I want to start with, I'm going to throw this to you here. Why Arkham Con? Why did you guys do this?
So when we got word that the Busters weren't going to continue with BusterCon this year, there were a number of us in the Mythos Busters Discord that just were like, what? Wait, but momentum. And it was so great this last year. And so, so a few of us said like, well, what would it look like if we just continued this? And so, there were a couple of things that we had to kind of get our ducks in a row around. Like, for example, we didn't want to step on the Mythos Busters' toes. This is their event, and it really was important for us to get their blessing. So, through some discourse, we did get their blessing. They were like, as soon as effectively they want to pick it up and run it again. Mm-hmm. It's an agreement that we're going to step aside. But until then, we just want to keep the momentum going. The last couple of years were absolutely amazing, particularly from my point of view, but I would argue for everyone's point of view around like such an awesome collaborative community that is centered around a cooperative board game or card game, but sometimes it feels like a board game. And we just wanted to keep that momentum rolling. So that's basically why we're doing what we're doing.
Mm-hmm. So you were a previous participant in BusterCons in the past. What was that? I guess my question is, for people who have been to previous BusterCons, or if this is their first, like, how much inspiration are you guys taking from the previous BusterCons?
Oh, I mean, in short, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? Our scheduling is, I would say, pretty much the same. And when we're going through the website, we'll like kind of take a look at that. But we didn't really want to change much of anything. Do we have a few other really cool, kind of never before seen things at Arkham Con this year? Oh yeah. Are we ready to reveal those? No, we're not. We still have a lot of things that are in the works. So there are a few things that I'm just going to, tell anybody who's even remotely considering going to Arkham Con. We've got some really cool, like, new stuff that people are going to want to, take part in and see, and it's going to be great.
Mm-hmm. And for people who are interested in what happens in Arkham Con, the best way to put it is it's a board game convention. It's people playing Arkham. There's going to be, I imagine, people playing other games too. There's going to be tables for that, but majority is like Arkham is the focus, and if you just want to play Arkham for 4 days, this seems like a great way to do it.
Yeah. Oh gosh, it is madness, let me tell you. Yeah, so ultimately, it is a 4-day convention. So, there's going to be 4 solid days of gaming. Thursday and Friday are effectively open gaming days, but there are some epic multiplayer standalone games that are slotted into the days that are going to be run by, various folks. So, for example, we have an amazing epic multiplayer, The Blob That Ate Everything, going on at least one of the 4 days. It's on the schedule, so we'll look at that in a little bit. But and it's also a a charity. So ultimately, last year the charity was for Trans Lifeline, and we raised a good amount of money. But it's really sort of fun because unlike your standard blob games, it's epic multiplayer. And if people who aren't familiar with epic multiplayer, they are basically a bunch of 4-player, tables of players in a whole room playing as a team.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's just like super fun. But what makes it even more fun is that the more that you give to the charity, the more points you get to basically make your team better. I can't remember what exactly they're called in Blob. They're like, oh gosh,
Is it like the countermeasure stuff or?
Yeah, the countermeasures. Yeah. So you basically can give your team more countermeasures in order to succeed more. And
Nice. Yeah.
And like it's light, it's fun. You're raising money for a good cause. And then outside of the charity, we have Labyrinths of Lunacy. We have War of the Outer Gods. Pretty sure we're going to have the fan created sort of expansion to War of the Outer Gods, which is so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so that's basically Thursday, Friday. Saturday is the Iron Man event. And so, as you can see in the title, Arkham Con 2025, the con in yellow. So everything is centered around Return to the Return to the Path of Carcosa. And so that's going to be the Iron Man. And once again, I got to say, like, if you're not, it's effectively a speed run. So if you're not into that kind of thing, there are plenty of people that come to, BusterCon, now Arkham Con, that won't be wanting to play in an Iron Man. But I would say for the majority of the participants, this is like the event that people come for.
As someone who has not done an Iron Man yet, you got to do at least one Iron Man. I feel like you have to. So for people who don't know, that's basically just playing the entire campaign in one day. That's kind of like the simple, easiest way to sum it up. And I hear they're always very enjoyable.
It is a marathon. Don't ever lose sight of that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, wow, does it require an immense amount of teamwork? It's super fulfilling at the end of the day. It's a different kind of deck building. Like, when you're building a deck for a normal campaign, you can kind of go as simple or as crazy as you like. But, I know people, including myself, that would recommend that, like, maybe not add blesses and curses into the chaos bag. That's more like grindy stuff. Maybe, go simpler rather than more complex. You're going to save sort of like bandwidth in your brain at the end of the day when you're trying to push through scenario 7, scenario 8, and it just makes a huge difference to go a little bit more simple but impactful.
I know. I remember a distinct story of someone just being like, I made a mistake bringing Patrice to an Iron Man. Just like scenario. Was that you? Yeah.
No. That almost was me. My first Iron Man. Yeah, it was Innsmouth Conspiracy, and me and a friend of mine, we were sort of like, someone online said, well, we need 2, partners. And we were just like, yeah, let's do it. Yeah. So 2 people we've never met before, Travis and Dan. And Travis, at first I was like, I'm playing Kluber Patrice. And Travis is like, yeah. So maybe not. Here's why. I was a little bit stubborn and resistant at first, but once we play tested it through, I was like, oh, I totally get what you mean.
Yeah. Just having to like see so many hands of 5 cards all throughout the day. It's just would be like, it's just a lot of bandwidth for that.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
And then on Sunday, what's happening on the Sunday?
Oh, Sunday is, it's kind of, I think we're calling it something different this year. The Busters dubbed it Dead LCG Day, where it's, but ultimately it's the day where, like, feel free to play everything that you want to play, like, but Arkham. And there are folks that are still playing Arkham. Don't get me wrong, that you can totally do that. But for example, last year I set up Dune Imperium. We played the hell out of that a couple of rounds. I brought Wonderland's War. Someone taught me how to play Compile, the 1v1 card game. Amazing. So it's really just an opportunity to like, play games that aren't Arkham, or just get exposed to like different games that people have brought that they want to teach.
Yeah, so it's more like the traditional, just like generic board game con day, where it's not like a focus on just Arkham, but there is still going to be people playing Arkham for it.
Yeah, I have a distinct memory of after the first year I went, after Iron Man, I woke up and the last thing that my brain wanted to talk about was Arkham. The last thing, right? So then we're in line at the Game Center, which is where the con is being hosted, and someone starts talking about Arkham. And my brain was like, no Arkham, no Arkham. But then the more and more they started talking about it, it's like, oh, tell me more. Tell me more. And it was just, it's such a fun thing to experience, that you basically have 125 people in the same room that has the same fervent passion about a game that you do.
Yep. Yeah. Well, should we start diving in and checking out some information on the website for people who can get more? If you haven't, the arkhamcon.org, there will be a link in the video description as well, so go check this out. Yeah, all right. So, about the event, Arkham Con is Arkham Con 25 is a 4-day gaming convention for fans of Arkham Horror, the card game by Fantasy Flight Games. It is organized by a group of gaming enthusiasts brought together through a mutual love of the game and the community that has grown around it. In previous years, we congregated the much-loved BusterCon organized by the Mythos Busters. When they announced they were taking a break, there would be no BusterCon in 2025. We knew how much its absence would be felt by the community. We decided to band together and put a community-run convention to continue providing spaces for people to gather and celebrate their love for the game. So, all these things we've kind of said, but the important thing is the dates, which we have not said yet. Arkham Con is taking place September 11th to 14th, 2025, at the Game Center in Roseville, Minnesota. Mark your calendars. So I think what our intro is kind of said here, well, I have never been to an Arkham Con. I'm hoping in a perfect world I can get there this year, because I would love to actually join for this. If you want to make these memories, if you like playing Arkham, if you want to meet people who like playing Arkham, this is something that's very much worth your time to check out, even if you might be like me and be a little bit introverted. I know that might be surprising because of how I am in the videos. I usually am quite outspoken and I love talking, but when you meet me in person, I am the opposite of that. But it is one of those things where it's worth it, and it's going to be really cool to meet a bunch of people to this. So if you have any interest, I highly suggest you mark these down your calendars and really think about it, because I think it would be really worth your time.
Just to speak to the introvert level, I am an extrovert, so I can't speak to that point. But I will say that there are a great many introverts that have come in years past. We had BusterCon had 125 people last year, and I think just people have a lot of fun all the way around. And for anyone who does identify as an introvert, it's honestly like, oh, you ever need a talking point? Just talk about Arkham.
Yep, that's exactly. That's what I was about to say. Yeah, because when the dialogue becomes like, when you have to just like, when you're just playing the game, it becomes easy and natural, right? And then that's kind of the thing that just like takes over, which is just playing it. So if you're interested, don't let it stop you. Is what I'm trying to say here. All right. Some frequently asked questions. These are some great things to cover. So where do I stay? You guys have a block of rooms at a hotel nearby for people?
We sure do.
Nice.
And by nearby, it's, in fair weather, you can walk from the hotel to the Game Center in like 2 minutes flat.
That's great. Yeah, that's really good. Yeah. So how do I prepare? You'll want to bring a few player decks and not some of your favorite scenarios. As the con approaches, we'll provide more specific suggestions on decks, and in particular, how to get ready for Iron Man if you're planning to participate in that event. So yeah, you're just gonna bring cards, bring a few decks, expect to be playing a bunch, bring some of your favorites, and is there actual sign-up sheets for these game events yet, or are those coming in the near future?
Well, the sign-up the sign up events for like the epic multiplayer stuff and single scenario stuff will be happening at the con. So it's super easy, not that complex, because there are going to be several games, and there might be a sign up sheet for like Blob and War of the Outer Gods, and so you can basically put your name on the sheet, and then they kind of split up like that. The sign for Iron Man, so for anyone who is going to buy a ticket, if you don't see a sign up sheet yet, don't worry. It's happening. It's gonna come out. We're just not ready to roll that out yet. So, but if you do if you want to start planning for Return to the Path of Carcosa, which I recommend that you do if you're interested in playing Iron Man, we have a whole like strategy spreadsheet for that on the Mythos Busters Discord. And if you have a hard time finding it, you can just ask around, and people will point you in the right direction.
It might be one of those things too that when we get closer, I can even make a video for Iron Man tips too, and we can even like talk about it there too, because I think that would be an interesting topic that some people might not know about. Next question.
So I was just going to say, so much direct damage.
Yes.
So much direct damage.
Yeah. The less you have to reach into the token bag, the better, I imagine, is just some good general advice. Yeah.
One strategy that we've done in the past is had a chaos bag for each person.
So you don't have to pass it around. Yeah. What if I don't know anyone? This is a great question, and it kind of goes to what we were talking about earlier about, if you might be a little bit nervous traveling to a con. Don't worry if you're coming without a group, but we'll be bringing back table flags to indicate groups that have room for people to join, so you can easily find other people to play with. And for Iron Man, we'll be organizing team in advance for anyone who needs it. So, and also, I've been to a few board game conventions with like sign-up sheets when you get there. It's very easy to just find a sign-up sheet, put your name on, and then next thing you know, you're going to be playing with people and having a great time.
Yeah. The what if I don't know anyone? It actually really is that simple. The flag method worked very well in the past couple of years. We're not gonna change that.
Nice.
People need to know if people are looking for. You can't just raise your hand the whole time. So
yes, yeah. What else should I look forward to? As we get closer to the con, we'll be publishing a full schedule of events, giving previews of the swag you'll receive, talking about food, and telling you about any other tricks we have up our sleeves. So there is swag bags, which are always fun.
Yeah. We're excited about the swag bags, and let me tell you that we're excited about the swag bags because our swag team is excited about the swag bags.
That's good. That's always a good sign.
Yeah. So you know that it's, oh gosh, yeah. I wish I could tell you more, but let's just say it's gonna be lots of fun stuff in that.
Nice. Yeah. All right, so I'll give you this opportunity. I'll throw this to you to talk about the tickets, because we are currently at the time of this video in the last few days of the early bird, but as you see, you also have standard and late bird. So I'll throw this one to you for you to talk about this.
Honestly, pretty standard. We wanted to create a couple tiers just so that people could buy a little bit more on the cheap if they purchased early. So it's $75 like at this moment through the website up until March 31st. I should say through March 31st. Then it goes into standard, $85. That's through July 31st. And then pretty much from then to the con is going to be $95. So, you're rewarded a couple extra bucks if for buying early. So if you know you're going to go, you might as well just buy now.
Yeah.
But
for Canadians, obviously this is in America, so these are American prices if you're in Canada like me. But the prices seem pretty legit, so I even like the early bird to late bird is not crazy. So it's like you said, procrastinator's dream if you want to really mull it out. But if you have any interest, there's no reason to wait, right? So
yeah, shout out to Wandering Took. He is a LCG community member in pretty much all the major LCGs. You can see him a lot on the Lord of the Rings LCG one, but he's basically designed the whole ticketing system and whatnot, and he'll also be a participant. He's putting a lot of work into this. So
nice. All right. We also have, that's the end of this page, but we also have the schedule here, which we can talk about now, actually seeing some of the stuff here. So day 1, day 2, or rightfully called, because it's the con in yellow, Act 1 and Act 2. And as you can see, so as there's the limited table epic multiplayer, which we had, which is going to be the stuff you were talking about, the charity blob. But it looks like there's also going to be some pub trivia going on.
Yeah. So that's a new thing that we're rolling out this year. Very excited. I mean, if you've ever been to any pub trivia at all in your life, it's pretty much going to be that, but game-centric and, dare I say, Arkham-centric. So, yeah, it's going to be a good time.
Nice. Day 2, more epic multiplayer stuff. There's a showcase event to be revealed soon, which I'm sure you can't talk about here, but I imagine is going to be pretty hype.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Even though I do. But no, honestly, I wish I could open my big mouth about this, but I'm just going to say people are going to be excited.
Nice. And then we also have dev panel and live podcast recording the Friday night.
Yeah, and we're really excited to continue on with that. It really is always exciting to get to talk to Duke and the bunch about, what's coming up inside of, the future of the game. And I'm sure this year, given the format changes, there's going to be a lot of really cool and exciting and fun questions to kind of field towards them. So that should be a really good time.
Nice. Yeah. All right. And then we go to the curtain call on the Saturday, which, as you can see, is Iron Man. Also open gaming for those not Iron Man, but a big thing is the Iron Man on the Saturday.
Yeah. I don't know. All I can say is just buckle up.
Yeah.
It's just a riot of a good time. It's fantastic.
Yeah. And then the Sunday, as you said, open gaming, but Arkham, and then there's also a voted on epic multiplayer in the afternoon as well.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a pretty open day. Honestly, it's pretty much do what you feel. I tend to play a lot of things not Arkham, like Marvel Champions or various board games or whatever. But yeah, it's pretty much just kind of like whatever floats your boat, whatever you see that captures your eye.
It's the chill day after the 12 hours of Iron Manning. It's just like it's like the dessert after the big meal, Still have to have it because it still tastes good, but you don't want any more steak. But you might have some more steak. There might be some more steak you're going to eat in your dessert. Who knows?
People are going to be talking about steak, and you might go, "Gosh, do I want more steak?"
Yeah, I think I could go for another bite of steak.
I could really go for more steak. I don't know.
All right. There's also this. I noticed this as well. There's the restricted collection from head librarian Chad. Yes.
Basically, he's just going to operate his restricted collection. He's going to, check out various fan base scenarios and various other scenarios that he has. Chad is, an amazing member of the community, and he's just got all this crazy stuff, and he just loves to, kind of make the restricted collection kind of come to life through people who really want to play some different stuff. So yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah. And then this is the more information of what we talking about as well, the limited table multiplayer, and then also the just open gaming as well.
Yeah.
Nice. And then there's one more page which is kind of has the less of the con stuff and more like the gears that make sure the machine is running for the information here. This is the attending. There's the dates, again, as we talked about, the 11th to the 14th, where it's happening, as well as a handy map where you can also see the hotel that's very close, as you said, good weather, two-ish minutes, which is nice.
Oh, hey, do me a favor. Scroll back up for a second. So you'll notice the hours. If you were to go to Game Center's, webpage or whatever, their hours are different. They are opening early for this con. So if you were, for example, to go to the page and you're like, oh, they say they open at whatever, noon or whatever, pay no attention to that. 10 a.m. is the right time.
Mm-hmm. Sweet. That's great information.
Yeah.
More information about the lodging where you can book online through here. And then travel information. The notice one as well, if you would be flying in, there's no easy public transportation route from the airport, so that is some relevant information. But there's some information here to help you get there, and then a place to get tickets, and food. One thing that is very important. So the two things I know about every con is make sure you drink a lot of water and make sure you eat well throughout the day. And I imagine that is incredibly true during Iron Man Day to make sure your brain is actually, you know, still hydrated and soft and functioning when it gets to the later parts of the evening.
Listen, I brought a whole cooler, right? Because I drove. So I brought a cooler and I had fruits and I had nuts and I had some protein things. And yeah, I was basically just nibbling the whole time because you have to stay focused, you know? You're leveling up on the fly. You're flipping scenarios rapidly. So yeah, I absolutely could not agree more. You have to be able to tend to the machine that is your body.
Yes, yeah, very important. Other than that, I think, at least I've seen from the website, is there anything else you want to touch base on in this video here for people who might be curious or have any other thoughts?
Yeah, well, just on the bare basics of, like, you know, the sort of what should I bring to the con? You know, bring anything in terms of the game that increases your quality of life. So, you know, you'll find that other people don't use the same tokens that you use. You know, maybe you're going to come to the table and say, hey, I want to use my chaos tokens. Is that okay for everybody? You know, but ultimately, in terms of the must-have things, definitely bring, you know, minimum 3 decks. You want a Clover, you want an enemy management deck, and then you want like a Flexi, right? I tend to go a little crazy. Last year I built 8 decks. Did I use all of them? No. Was it fun to build them?
Yeah.
Absolutely. So really like do whatever you can pull off. You know, I understand that, like, if one is flying, you're gonna have limited space. So, you know, also take that into account. So yeah, but I would say that's the bare minimum. You know, it may or may not be helpful if you have the extra room to pack some of the epic multiplayers. It is certainly not necessary, but if you have the room, pack them, right? If you can factor in, bring another blob, bring another War of the Outer Gods, you know, that kind of thing. So, but ultimately, I think we've pretty much covered everything. I think the last thing I want to do is just shout out the Arkham Con team. We, you know, it was, I can't even believe this is happening. We've had several of the team members comment that this has just been one of the smoothest process of, like, con creation that they've ever had the pleasure of, you know, being a part of. And many, you know, a couple of our team members have been a part of a lot of them. Right. And I want to just say, just to give credit where credit's due, you know, I'm just one of the mouths, right? Like, there are so many more talented individuals on this team than myself, and they deserve so much credit. So just thank you to them, and also thank you to you, you know, longtime fan, first time caller. I appreciate you.
Yeah. Sweet. All right. So for those watching at home, if you're interested, I highly suggest checking it out. I've only heard great things about BusterCon in the past, and I imagine that is going to just continue into here. Everything sounds great, and I imagine if you've been in the past, like you said, it sounds very familiar as well, which is really nice. So check it out. Video description if you want to just go and buy tickets. Other than that, everybody, thank you so much for watching. Huge shout out to everyone watching, and also I'm also going to do a shout out to the Arkham Con team, because I think it's really cool that you guys are doing this. It's really nice for the community to have, like, a big yearly event that is, like, hyper focused on Arkham. So that's really sweet to see this continuing. But thanks for watching, everybody. Have a good one, and as always, a GG's.